Okay, Be'ezat Hashem, Na'aseh v'natzliach. I'd like to welcome you to Ironside Lunch and Learn. I'd like to give an honorable mention to our gracious host, Ofer Mizrahi, Judah Mendel, also to our special sponsor, Hummus Factory, who does a great job every single week, giving us fresh food, excellent falafel, hummus, salads, and unbelievable pitot. I have to say my family's in love with them. We are here today, and we also want to give an honorable mention to our regular Pesa that's here with us every single week, Baruch Hashem, Be'ezat Hashem, that these lessons be a big Yeshua to all that are watching, all that are attending, and Be'ezat Hashem, this also be to the Yeshua of Am Yisrael for all that what's going on right now in our country. Be'ezat Hashem, Hashem Yatzil Otanu Mikol HaOivim. So very appropriate that we should speak about this Parashat Vayetze. There's a very, very big concept over there on how it's connected to this week's events. In last week's Parashat, we just go back a page or two. In Pasuk Mem Aleph, we have a very interesting scenario. Yaakov got the blessing of Esav. We already explained the hidden story over there. And Esav was very upset over that fact. And there's sort of a soliloquy, a little a pasuk over here that gives us an insight of what's inside Esav's head. And Pasuk Mem Aleph says, "Vayestom Esav et Yaakov al beracha sheberecho aviv." It says he was very upset about the blessing that that Yaakov got from his father. Vayomer Esav belibo. Esav says in his heart, "Yikrevu yemei evel avi v'haga et Yaakov achi." When the days come when I have to mourn my father's death, I am going to kill my brother Yaakov. Furthermore, you go to Pasuk Membed, the following Pasuk, and it says over there, "Vayugad leRivka et divrei Esav bena hagadol." If this was a soliloquy, if this is something that's going on inside Esav's mind, inside his heart, how does she know what was said to him? So Rashi tells us, Ruach HaKodesh, an angel came and told her about it. And it says over there that Vatishlach vatikra Yaakov, she sent and she called Yaakov bena hakatan, her younger son. Vatomer elav hine Esav achicha mitnachem lecha leorgecha. She's letting him know that Esav right now is almost like mourning you or planning on killing you. The Rashi tells us that word mitnachem. What's mitnachem? He says he took a glass of wine the same way that when people pass away or people die, sometimes you give them a glass of wine because the wine helps a person go through mourning. The Gemara says that wine is good for people that are mourning and for people that are going through depression. It livens up the heart. So usually if you want to make a sad person happy, tell them, have a glass of wine with me, or I have another, some sort of something to alleviate the pain. Over here, Esav did it as a symbol. I'm drinking a glass of wine as if I'm done with him. He's dead to me. I'm doing the custom of what people do in funerals. Having said that, Yaakov begins his trek to leave his parents' home. As it says in Pasuk Bet and Perek Chet, it says he gets the instruction from his father by the recommendation of his mother. Kum lech paden Aram beta Betuel avimecha. Tells him, go to Aram, go to Betuel, the house of your mother, and vekach lecha misham isham ibnot Lavan achi imecha. And go over there and get yourself a wife from your father's brother. His name is Lavan. Now, at this particular time, Yaakov is 40 years old. After being 40 years old, he leaves his parents' home, and on the way to Lavan's house, he takes a 14-year detour. He goes to the yeshiva of Shem and Ever, and he spends 14 years over there. And why would he do that? To learn Torah, to study Torah. So the question goes, if your parents told you, go to your uncle's house so you can get married, shouldn't that be the first thing that you do? Shouldn't that be your kibud av va'em? What are you doing learning Torah? Not only that, we just learned last week that Avraham, Yitzchak, and Yaakov had a 15-year stint where they learned together. Is there any better Torah than the Torah of Avraham, Yitzchak, and Yaakov that they're learning together? However, Yaakov knew that he's going now to Haran. This is a bad place. A place of crooks. This is a place of Avodah Zarah. And he needs a different type of Torah. He needs a different type of Torah in order to protect him. What type of Torah? The Torah of Shem and Ever. Why? Shem and Ever were alive during when? The Mabul. During the Dora Pelaga, the Tower of Babylon, the Flood, Sodom and Gomorrah. They were around for so many different terrible generations, and they knew how to live during those generations and still be connected to HaKadosh Baruch Hu. So Yaakov says, you know what? I need that Torah. If I'm going to be in that environment, I need the Torah of Shem Ve'ever to show me the way of how to survive in that environment. So at the age of 54, he begins his trek back to Haran, to Lavan, and there begins the story of how he passes by Harabait, and over there's the whole realization that this is a holy place. He slept over there on top of the rock. The whole Jacob's ladder, the dream with the ladder, with the angels going up and down. It's not for today's lesson, but that's also in this week's parasha. And then the whole story when he goes to the well, the famous well, where let's say 10s or 20 or 30 or 50 or hundreds of sheep herders need to come and move this huge rock in order for them to get to the water so they can water their herd. And comes Yaakov and with one little shove makes this huge rock move out of the way, and over there he meets who? Rachel, the woman that he wants to marry, the girl that he wants to be with for the rest of his life. And as he meets Rachel over there, since he was on the journey of going to Lavan's house, he asks her the question, are you familiar with a person by the name of Lavan, who is from the house of Betuel? She tells her, yeah, that's my father. And he was so excited that he found his family, and that he saw Rachel, and that he wanted to be with her. And over here we get introduced to Lavan, otherwise known as Lavan Ha Arami. Others even call him Lavan Haramai, because Arami, you can take those same letters and switch it to Arami, the crook, the convict, the cheat, the thief, the Haramai. And over here we have a very interesting character, which is going to be the focal point of today's lesson, which is Lavan. Lavan gets introduced to Yaakov Avinu in a very interesting way. In Perek Chavtet, in Pasuk Yud Bet, it says that Rachel came over to her father, and she runs. She says, "We have over here Yaakov, the son of your sister." And he begins and says, "Vayakishma Lavan et Shema Yaakov ben Achoto vayaretz ikato." He says, when he heard this, he ran towards him. Why? Because the last time that somebody came from the family of Yaakov, who was it? It was Eliezer. Eliezer was in that exact same city, the exact same town, same house, when he was in search of Rivka. When Abraham sent him on a mission to find a zivug. And he came over there with camels and with jewels and with food, with gifts, with a note saying that whatever you want, you will get if you'll give me your daughter for a zivug for my son. So he saw, the money train is back. The money train is back. And as a matter of fact, back then, as soon as he met Eliezer, what did he do? He touched him up everywhere. He gave him a big hug and a big kiss. We thought, on face value, he's a very touchy-feely guy. He's a warm guy. He likes to hug and kiss. He's very welcoming. In reality, he was touching him all over to see where's the bags of money. Because, people used to carry it on them back in the days. Where is the jewels? He went as far as to kiss him in his mouth. And with his tongue, he went to check to see if there's any hidden jewels on the inside of his mouth. Wow, very weird character. So when it comes over here, so now when he sees that Yaakov is here, he runs towards him. There he goes, another opportunity for money. He hugs him. There he is again. Body search. And he kisses him again, looking for those jewels, as Rashi brings it. So he brings him to his home, and he begins to tell him the story. What is the story? So the story is that Yaakov starts to tell him, Lavan is telling him, what are you doing over here? So Yaakov tells him the story of Esav, of what happened with the whole blessing of the birthright and how Esav has sworn to kill him. And furthermore, the Midrash brings it that as he was running away from his brother, Esav sent his, because Esav made a promise, when his father passes away, that's when he'll kill him. But his son himself has a different obligation. He tells him, you go kill Yaakov. Meanwhile, Yaakov was his son's teacher. His son's name was Eliphaz. What happened with Eliphaz? He gets instructions from his father to kill Yaakov, and he bumps into him. And he comes to Yaakov and he says, Yaakov, I know you're my teacher, I know you're my uncle, and I know that I love you. However, my father has instructed me to kill you, and I have to do my kibbud avayim. So Yaakov tells him, okay, do you remember what we learned? Do you remember what we learned together? That a dead person is what? A dead person is one that doesn't have children, one that doesn't have money, and one that doesn't, I think the other one was...
blind.
One who cannot see, blind. So he says, I'll give you a perfect thing. Take all my clothes, take all my money, make me poor, and it'll count as if you killed me. And that's what it is. So he explains to Lavan, so here I am, penniless. I have nothing on me. Lavan is super upset because he sees that he thought that the money train was here, but of course he's here with nothing. He just showed up by himself. So he's very upset about the situation that Yaakov shows up to his house without $1. So he continues to say, he says, that's all right. You're my blood. You're my family. Sit with me for 30 days. Why? Because the custom those days was that you can stay in a certain town for 30 days and they'll host you. After that, you have to start doing your part. You can't be a freeloader. However, Esav, what he says that not only are you going to sit with me, but just don't think just because you're my family, I'm going to take care of you. You can stay with me, but you're going to have to work. You're going to have to watch my cattle for me. We're going to have a fair exchange over here. You're not just going to sit here and freeload off me for 30 days. And over here, we see the beginning of a 20-year relationship, intimate relationship between Yaakov and Lavan. A very unique relationship. Keep in mind that this evil man, Lavan, is the grandfather of the 12 tribes. He's the father of Rachel, Leah, Zilpah, and Bilhah. Rachel and Leah came from the same mother. Zilpah and Bilhah came from the Pilegesh, from the... How do you say Pilegesh? From the mistress. Or from the geisha, from the Japanese culture. So they were all his daughters. And from those 4 daughters came the 12 tribes of Am Yisrael. So Lavan is the grandfather to the tribes of Am Yisrael. So it's a very unique relationship. It's a very unique person that is in the Jewish history, that is part of our history. But yeah, we're going to see how a person that can even be family, how he acted, how he behaved, the things that he said, and what was his motive from the get-go. And I'll give you a teaser. His motive from the get-go was to destroy the Jewish people and have no Jews in the world. He wanted to destroy us from the Ikar completely. We'll touch on it in a little bit. But just giving you an idea, this is not a regular guy, because if you read the Pesukim, you might think that this is just a family issue between a father-in-law and a brother and a son-in-law. But there's a lot more beneath the surface. Take a look. after he tells him that he could stay by him for a month, and in exchange for work, he continues to say in Pasuk Yudalet, he says, you see that you are doing a very good job. ויאמר לבן ליעקב, אחי, אתה ועבדתני חינם, הגיד לי משכורתך. He says, listen, you're doing a very good job. It's not right that you should work for free. Tell me what you want to earn. Tell me what you're looking to make, and I'll pay you, because you're doing such a great job. Now, the reason why he wanted to pay him is because we know that Avraham, Yitzchak, and Yaakov kept the entire Torah. So there's a certain halacha when you have somebody who's guarding or watching something for you. If you learn Masechet Baba Kama, you'll come across it many times. There's the concept of shomer chinam, shomer sachar. Somebody who gets paid to watch something for you, in this case, your cattle, and someone who does it as a favor for free. So, a person that watches your cattle for you, at no cost, for free, as a favor, and something happens, an animal dies, an animal gets killed, an animal gets robbed, because you're a shomer chinam, you're not responsible. However, if you're a shomer sachar, if I'm giving you $100 to watch my flock, any damages that happen to that flock, you are going to pay me back on that. So knowing that Avraham, Yitzchak, and Yaakov keep the Torah, Lavan was shrewd, he was sneaky, he was a crook. He says, you know what? I have thousands and thousands and thousands and thousands of sheep and goats and all this cattle over here. You know what it's going to take for me to put insurance on that? You know what I have to do in order to make sure that I don't have any losses? You know what I'll do? I'll hire this Yaakov to be in charge of all of them. And anyone that I lose, he has to pay. What a crook. What a crook. Furthermore, he tells him, that's your job. You got hired for that. However, I'm not going to pay you $1,000. You know, at the end of the day, I'm helping you. At the end of the day, you're running away from your brother. At the end of the day, you're being chased. You're about to die. I'm harboring you. Instead of, let's say the market value is $1,000 a month, I'll give you $50, whatever, just something, so you can have some pocket change. So look at this deal. Look how he starts the relationship with Yaakov. Gave him a super low salary, gave him an incredibly difficult job, and he's then, and that's what he offers him. Yet Yaakov comes back and says, in Pasuk Yudchet it says, Vayehav Yaakov et Rachel. Well, Yaakov loved Rachel. Vayomer Ehevdecha Sheva Shanim Berachel Bitcha Ktana. He saw that he was a crook. He tells him, I am willing to work for 7 years for you in exchange for your daughter Rachel. And which one? He says Rachel Bitcha, your daughter, Haktana, the small one. Why? If you just said Rachel, you could have brought a Rachel from the market. Here, you wanted to work for Rachel. Technically, here's Rachel. And if he says Bitcha, he could have brought another daughter that was Rachel and was his daughter. Haktana, the small one. He says, he called her out by all classifications. That's the one. So, he agrees to it. After 7 years, the wedding comes, and we see over here Yaakov turning to Lavan and says, "Vayba boker." He asked for his wife because he wants to do a whole mishteh. They want to celebrate it, and instead of marrying Rachel, the classic story, the switcheroo, he gives him who? Leah. He gives him Leah. And he tells him, Vahi baboker, and the morning comes, Vinehi Leah, and instead of Rachel, he sees that it's Leah. Vayomer Lavan, he tells Lavan, Ma zot asita li? What did you do to me? Halo berachel avati imach, velama rimitani. He says, I worked 7 years in order to get Rachel. Why did you cheat me? Vayomer Lavan, לא יעשה חטא במקומנו לתת את צירה לפני הבחירה. He had an excuse. You know, liars, cheats, crooks always have a reason to their wicked ways. He says, listen, I'll give you Rachel, but our custom is first you marry off the older, and then you can give off the younger. So it's not our custom, and it's not our kavod, it's not our honor that we should have an older daughter in our house. First, you got to marry the older one, then we'll give you the younger one. He says, if you want, work with me another 7 years, and I'll give you Rachel. And Yaakov obliges. He says, okay, I will do it. Over here we can see a question. If you see that Yaakov wants Rachel so bad, why didn't Lavan negotiate? Why didn't he say, you know what, for this one you got to work 14 years. For this one you got to work 21 years. For this one you got to work just one more year. Wasn't there a negotiation? Why say you just, another 7 and you agree to it? Because he wasn't going to go through with it. Typically people, crooks, when they're not going to go through with something, they don't care. Okay, whatever you say, well, yeah, let's do that. Usually people, when they come to a deal, there's two sides. Very rare is it that these two sides agree. Very rare that they always come to see eye to eye. You say 7, I say 3, we meet in the middle, let's call it 5. But a crook, you can tell him 10. Yeah, sure, 10, not a problem. Why? He's not planning on keeping his word. That's how this was such an easy deal for another 7 on Lavan's side. Now, we have here a situation where Yaakov is now married to Leah. He wants to be with Rachel. And we see that we know that Leah used to cry a lot. Rashi tells us she cried a lot because she did not want to marry Esav. She knew that she'd have to get married to the older brother. The older brother was Esav. So she said, well, I don't want to marry Esav. So she was always crying about it. Later on, she was also barren. So she was also always crying because she wanted to have children. What did that cause Yaakov to feel? So if you go to Pasuk Lam, it says, after he agreed to work for an additional 7 years for Rachel because he loved her, it says over here, Vayar Hashem ki snu'a Leah. Hashem saw that Leah was hated. Vayiftach et Rachma. And he opened up her womb and she was able to bear children. Rachel stayed akara. Rachel stayed barren. So the question goes, why was Leah snu'a? So we said because she was always crying. 2, because he didn't really want her. Those are 2 different ways of learning of why Rachel was snu'a. However, if you go back to the pasuk right before it, there's a different way to understand it. It says, "Vayavo gam el Rachel veyehav gam et Rachel mileah." He says that no, actually, don't learn it like that. Yaakov Avinu is not going to hate his wife. He doesn't hate Leah. He loves her through Rachel. As much as Rachel and even more on certain levels. And he says, it says over here, Ve'av gam et Rachel. He loved also Rachel mi Leah. Because of Leah, he was able to find more love for Rachel. And what happened when she was able to bear children? Vatahar Leah, vatelet ben. She got pregnant. She started to have a child. And he says, now, ata yehevani ishi. Now my husband will love me. Why? Because when a woman gets pregnant and she's able to bring children to the world, she becomes chashuva. She becomes important. She has value. She says, now I have value. Now my husband will deal with me. He'll talk to me. We'll sit with the baby between us and do goo goo gaga together. We'll have our firsts with him. We'll take him to walk to the park. We'll teach him the modani. We'll do a bar mitzvah together. We have an interaction. I'm chashuva. I'm relevant now. Where before, she was barren and the one that's crying, I really didn't want you. You're the second best. But here, it sees, why? Now there's a reason for her that Hashem answered her cries, answered her torment, and now her husband is going to love her. Now, Another interpretation was Vayehav et Rachel milea. They do the emphasis on the word milea because you can see that Leah did something very unique. She didn't have to go through it either. She also did not have to go through this wedding. But Leah went through it, and she was in cahoots with her sister in order to do what? To build Am Yisrael. At the end of the day, they knew that Yaakov needed 12 tribes. And they knew that they needed to be a part of it. And what did Leah say? If I'm going to have my share in building the Am Yisrael, the 12 tribes of Israel, I'm going to partake in it. And he loved her for it. He appreciated that she took upon herself something that wasn't on her. Yaakov wanted Rachel. Her father is the one that concocted this whole situation. She didn't have to go through with it. But she did, not because of her father. She did it because she wanted the 12 tribes of Israel to come through Yaakov, and she wanted a part of it. And he loved her for that. So here we are. Yaakov finally works another 7 years. So he's now worked 14 years for 2 wives. And after that, he's right now in a situation where he has 14 years of working and 11 children that all come from Leah, Rachel, Zilpah, and Bilhah. And he wants to leave. Like they say, this town isn't big enough for the both of us. Yaakov says, hey, listen, I got to start my family. I've been here for the longest time. Not only that, he became a huge success. Lavan became a filthy rich man because of Yaakov. Every one goat that he gave him back 1,000. As the Pasuk says in Perek Lamed, Pasuk Chav Zayin. It says over there, Vayomer elav Lavan, im na matzati chen beinecha, nichashti, vayvaracheni Hashem biglalcha. He says, Lavan tells Yaakov, I admit it, all my success is because of you. The only reason why I have all this right now is because you are here with me. What does he offer? The next pasuk, he says, since all my success is because of you, Vayomar nakva secharcha. What's nakva secharcha? Like, tell me what's your reward? What is it? What pay you want to get? Well, what do you want to get out of this? Whatever you want, I'll give it to you. I know that my big success only because of you. So it says, Vayomar nakva secharcha. What's nakva? Point out what your payment is going to be. However, you can understand it differently also. It says, Vayomer nekeva secharcha. What's nekeva? Nekeva is female. He's telling, okay, which female you want to work for now? You already have to. Which one? Let's do another deal. I'll give you another girl. It was a big Ramai. Even in the words, he's telling, choose the money that you want me to pay for you. But he didn't use, he was very carefully which words he used. Vayomer nekeva secharcha. Why? He says, because then when it's all done after 7 years, I told you you're working for another girl. You can see he's setting up his con. Now, Yaakov emphasizes back to him that all his sachar is because of him. And Yaakov now wants his own parnasah. He has a big family, he doesn't want independent, and doesn't want to also work for another person. He says, let's strike a deal. We'll do a deal with the livestock. They separated the livestock, and he said, I'm willing to work for you for an additional amount of years. In reality, it was 6 years. So Yaakov was really connected to him for 20 years. 7 for Rachel, 7 for Leah, and 6 for the livestock and for the cattle. And he said, let's strike a deal. Let's take the spotted and patched goats or the brown sheep. And from my share, whatever the offspring they have will be mine. Everything else is yours. So I said, okay, let's make that deal. Now, in order to keep things fair and honest, so there's no confusion or dishonesty, Yaakov used to pasture Lavan's cattle and livestock 3 days distance from his. So there's no way that they can meet, interact, or even get mixed together. He had a 3 days walk worth of distance between both herds. And Yaakov, for his sheep and cattle, he used a special technique. He took these sticks, he would put it right by where the animals come to drink. And when they looked at the sticks and the holes that he put in them, it made them, got them stimulated. And while the sheep were drinking, the other sheep would mount them. And because they were looking at those sticks that had holes on them or were a certain solid color, the offspring would be spotted. It's a technique. It's a great technique. As a matter of fact, it's a technique that we as humans use nowadays. If you want your kid to look a certain way, you know what they say? Put a picture in front of you that you're going to look during the time of pregnancy. Like, for example, there's a lot of stories that mothers take a picture. Let's say they want their kid to look like, blue eyes, blonde hair, and they want to look like a certain uncle or a certain figure that they're emulating. You look at that picture during the time of pregnancy and it starts to look like that person. Because the mind begins to paint that picture, which in turn paints the embryo in the belly. There's actually a famous story of the time of when when Jews were in Israel and in England, bless you, and England was at the time ruling Israel, and there's a story of a Rebbitzin that was sitting on the balcony on a hot summer day, and she saw this beautiful English guy, tall, blonde, blue eyes, muscular, and she's like, wow, and she was pregnant. She was like looking at him, she's like, I want my son to look like him. Mind you, she's the wife of a rabbi, and she had about 10 kids, and all of them looked the same more or less, and this one kid came out with blonde and blue eyes. Gorgeous. However, when he grew up, when he was like 19 or 20 or got to a man's age, he became a huge rasha. He was wicked. And they all came to the Rebbe and said, what happened? They grew up in the same house. It's a one-year child. Why? What do you think is the reason why your son came out such a bad apple? She says, because I wanted him to look like that soldier that came during the time when Britain was in control of Israel. And when I said like him, I didn't realize that he looks like him, but that particular guy was also a Rasha. So he came out exactly like him as well. I know that there's a lot of times also a woman will take a picture and put a picture on a coffee mug. And like that, every time that they drink, they see the picture of, whoever it is that they want to emulate in that their kid should come out like. But you can see that this whole thing started from the sheep of Yaakov Avinu, that whole technique. Now, using this technique, you see that Yaakov Avinu got to a level of, as the Pasuk Mem Gimel says, Vayifrotz ha'ish me'od me'od. He says he became super successful. Vayer otzon rabot. He says he had a lot of cattle, a lot of sheep, ushvachot, servants, va'avadim, slaves, gmalim, camels, v'chamorim, and donkeys. In other words, he had the Bentley, he had the Mercedes, he had a whole staff working for him. He had it all. He was able to become rich very, very quickly from this technique. And here we see Lavan take a different approach with Yaakov again. It says, the sons of Lavan start to go to his father and say, you know what? Yaakov is taking away all our riches. Look at him. Look how quickly he's become rich. So now he passes by Lavan on a daily basis, when they're in the tent, when they're in the town, and we see Lavan's face, mean face. It's not like the same like it was before. His face changed. It wasn't like he was dealing with him a few days ago, a few months ago, a few years ago. Lavan couldn't give him any sort of a positive projection towards him. He felt that something was off. So Yaakov begins to say, I feel like it's time to leave. The time has come to go our own separate ways. And he goes to, what is the first thing that he does? Before he decides that, he goes to his wives. He goes to Rachel and Leah, and he tells them, "V'avichen hetel bi, v'yachlif et maskuti 10 monim." He says, you know my history with your dad. He cheated me so many times. So many different times he changed my deals. He said, you're going to get this bonus when you reach this level. And then he didn't give it to me. And he told me that he's going to give me a raise, and he didn't give it to me. He told me that, when you come to me on Wednesday, I'll pay you. And he didn't pay me. All the tactics that people use when it comes to... welcome. All the tactics that a crook will use in order not to pay. Et maskurti 10 monim hechlif. He changed vechlif et maskurti 10 monim. Every time it came to payment, what did he do? He changed it on him. Every time it was time for him to earn a certain amount of money, so no, not today, tomorrow. You didn't understand. You didn't. You don't remember. Everything that he told him was off. However, even though that Lavan Ha Arami, or as we said, Lavan Ha Aramai, changed his deal with Yaakov so many times, what was the outcome? Yaakov is telling his wives, "Velo netano Elohim hara imadi." God did not give him the opportunity to do anything bad to me. He can't affect me. He can't do anything bad to me. I am in God's hands. You can see there's already hashkafa, there's already emunah. This is already Yaakov, the way that he's living his life. Now, after dealing with his wife and with his wives and telling him what he did about their father, what is their take on it? Vatan Rachel v'Leah, both of them answer together. V'tomarna lo, they answer together. Do you think we have some sort of inheritance or some sort of inheritance that we're going to get from our father? You think he's going to pass something down to us? We look to him like strangers. He sold us. He sold us for your job. If you work from 7 days, here, take my daughter. If you work for me for another 7 days, here, take my other daughter. He was just selling us. We were commodity to him. And if you could, you'll take our own money. So, seeing that he got the approval of his wives, what does he do? He makes a run for it. He escapes. Now, Lavan chases him, and we get to the part of them catching up to one another. After a week's worth of chase, Yaakov, they're face to face, and Yaakov tells them, Zeli 20 shana bevetecha. He says, I've been with you for 20 years, Lavan. Avaticha, I worked for you, 14 shana. B'shte benotecha, 14 years I worked for both your daughters. V'shesh shani betzonecha, and then another 6 years just on your cattle, just so I can make a living. V'tachalef et maskurti 10 monim. And you changed my salary 100 times. 100 times you changed my salary. We agreed to one thing, you changed it another. We got to an understanding, you told me I didn't understand. We got to every time that he got to some sort of resolution, he would move the goalpost. He wouldn't let him earn the money. What does Lavan tell him back? Tells him, Vayan Lavan, Vayomer Yaakov. Lavan tells him, oh, you know what? With all that being said, Habanot bnotai, the daughters that are your wives, those are my children. Vabanim banai, and the children that came from them, those are my children. Vatzon tzonim, and all your cattle belongs to me. Look at what nerve he has. V'chol asher taroeh lihu, and everything that's around you belongs to me. He's a gangster. He tells them everything that's yours is mine. He says, but what am I going to do right now? You married my daughters. It's as if he's saying, okay, whatever, I'll do you a favor. Meanwhile, we know that HaKadosh Baruch Hu came to him in a dream and told him, don't even touch Yaakov, not for good and not for bad. But he doesn't say it like that. He doesn't say it like this in this pasuk. He says, he says, you know what, let's make a covenant between you and I. And they build a covenant. It says, they build sort of like a pile of stones, and they called it like a covenant that they did, and they called the place Kaya Shemo Gal Ed. What's Gal Ed? It says like a testimony. Edut is when you testify, and Gal is like this whole pile of rocks that this is going to testify, or this is going to be a symbol that you stay on one side, I stay on the other, and we don't mix it all. And they part ways. And how does he part ways? He tells them that this is a covenant that I'm going to hold on to forever and ever between you and I. So that was just the story. It's a very interesting story, and along the way you can pick up a lot of little tidbits. But what can we learn from it? We said Lavan Ha Arami. Ha Arami is the same letters of Ramai. Lavan was a Ramai. He was a crook, he was a liar, he was a cheat, he was a thief. He knew how to use his words, his language. He knew to use perfect moments, perfect times in order to get out of certain situations, just so it benefits for him. He was very selfish. He used personal tactics to con a personnel. And you can see the way that he acted. What was he? Hugs and kisses. People that hug and kiss you all the time. You feel so close, like such a warm guy. He's always hugging, he's always kissing me. It makes you feel of safety. My brother holding on, hugging on. He opened up. He had incredible hospitality. Stay by me. Don't worry about it. Everything's for free. Come, I cleared the house for you. Meanwhile, he's the biggest con in the world. But you feel like, oh, look at this guy. He's such a nice guy. He's opening up his house to me. He offered up a job. He promises money. Don't worry. Come, work with me. We'll make money. Everything's going to be successful. Everything's going to be on the up and up. Once you come around, we'll make a lot of money together. In the end, what happened? He even sold his own family. He didn't care about his own daughters. He just wanted to make money. He says, look, I have this guy over here. Let me try to use him and abuse him. In the meantime, what is it? One of my daughters? Hey, take one of my daughters. What do I care? Look at how much money I made in the past 7 years. Let's do it again. Another 7 years. A crook. Everything to get his benefits. He even cheated his nephew. At the end of the day, Yaakov was his nephew. Rivka was his sister. This is family. He didn't have any shame being a cheat to his own family. Not to mention that he didn't keep his word 100 times. Hundreds of times he changed the deal on him. Hundreds of times. Could you imagine one person after one time, after the second time, after the third time, after the fourth time, 100 times? Can you even tolerate somebody changing a deal on you more than once or twice? Could you imagine 100 times? That's what Yaakov had to go through. Not only that, Lavan was a very big person that was involved in Avodah Zarah. What was the Avodah Zarah? His name is Lavan. The Avodah Zarah that he was a part of was Naval. Naval in Hebrew means to wilt, meaning something like for a flower. Imagine a flower is like so healthy and fresh and blooming, and then if somebody touches it, and it just wilts and becomes nothing. So Naval had that type of tum'ah, that Avodah Zarah, that anything that he touched would wilt. And he would draw from that Avodah Zarah. As a matter of fact, he wanted to wilt all of Am Yisrael. Even though that in this week's parasha we spoke about the interaction of Yaakov and Lavan, a few parashiot ago we had the story of Eliezer. And you should know that he tried to get us back then. It says, in the Haggadah Shel Pesach, it says, שבכל דור ודור עומדים עלינו לכלותנו, that every single generation we have a person who wants to annihilate the Jewish nation, והשם מצילנו מידם, and Hashem saves us from them. And then it continues to say in the Haggadah, it says, צא ולמד, go and learn. מה ביקש לבן הארמי לעשות ליעקב? Go learn what Lavan Ha Arami wanted to do to Yaakov. Go learn, go see what happened over there. שפרעה לא גזר אלא על הזכרים. פרעה, he only wanted to kill the male Jews. ולבן ביקש לעקור את הכל. Lavan wanted to take it, to uproot it completely. There will be no Jewish nation. So in order to understand that, we have to go back to last week's parasha with Eliezer, or two parashot ago. Eliezer was a messenger for a shidduch. So the halakha is, if a person sends a messenger for a shidduch, Meaning there's a guy here in Miami, and he says, I have a shidduch in South America, and let's just say in Colombia. Here is the ketubah, here is $10,000, go deliver this ketubah, this $10,000 to my future wife, and come back with her. Until that messenger doesn't come back to Miami with that signed ketubah or with that woman, that person that sent him can never get married. He could never get married. Until that messenger comes back, he is in limbo. So when Eliezer was the messenger of Avraham Avinu to find the zivug of Yitzchak. So when he was there, what did they tell him? Oh, come to our house. There's that hospitality again. We cleared up the house for you. Here's food for your camels. Come and eat with us. And the Midrash says that when they went to go eat, Eliezer went to go Netilat Yadayim before he sat down to eat, and they had plates. And Betuel, what did he do? He took poison and he put it on his food. Why? Should Eliezer eat that plate with poison and never come back to Avraham Avinu with the shidduch, that means that Yitzchak can never get married. And that means that the Jewish nation could never be procreated. Why? Because we said that Abraham, Yitzchak, and Yaakov follow all the halachot of the Torah. And they knew that halakha. So as long as that messenger was out there, he's not going to be able to get married. So they wanted to take it from the Ikar. From the beginning, they wanted to take it that there won't even be a Yaakov. The Midrash has it that when Betuel turned around, a malach came and switched the plates. And what happened? Betuel ate it and he died. That's why Betuel is only mentioned in that parasha, and after that, it's all Lavan, Lavan, Lavan. He wanted to take us completely, leave us in limbo from the messenger for the shidduch. So, when it says V'Lavan bikesh la'akor et hakol, there's a life lesson for us over here. With this I'll conclude. In Tehillim, it says in the 18th chapter, on the 26th and 27th pasuk, it says, Im hasid titchasad. If you're going to be around righteous people, you're going to become righteous. Im gvar tamim titamam. If you're with naive people, you're also going to be naive. You're going to feel like nobody's trying to hurt you. Everything is good. Im tamim titamam. Im navar titbara ve'im akesh titpata. He says, but if you're with crooked people, if they do you wrong, you do them back. If there's a person that's navar titbara, so we learn about over here. Im naval titnabel. What does that mean? If a person is going with you crooked 100 ways, you too have the right to go crooked with him 100 ways, because how you're going to protect yourself from a crooked person. So, but what kind of advice is that from Yaakov Avinu? We're going to ask Yaakov Avinu to be a crook in order to deal with Lavan? Makes no sense. I mean, it's good advice. Play defense, in other words. Wherever you are, you're going to be a product of your environment. You're around good people, you're going to have good qualities. You're around negative people, what's going to happen? You're going to take some negative qualities. So you have to, bob and weave to make sure you avoid all these situations. This midah keneged midah that we're learning over here is to learn something about Yaakov and learn something for us. Yaakov knew very well that everything in the world is from Hashem. He was supposed to be there. He was supposed to work for 20 years. He was supposed to get cheated by Lavan. Everything was supposed to. As a matter of fact, why was Leah snua? Because she told him, Yaakov came to her and told her, it's not nice what you did. You cheated me. You told her, I'm supposed to marry your sister, and now yours came up. She told him, I learned from you. I learned how you took the bracha from Esav. The same way you took the bracha from Esav, I took the wedding from my sister. There was another midrash that says that's why she was snua, but in reality we know that she wasn't. So he says, Yaakov knew that was all from Hashem. He knew that Leah was supposed to be his wife. He knew that he was supposed to deal with Lavan. He knew that all that was supposed to be exactly the way it is. And this whole 20-year stint that they were together with Lavan was a big, big lesson. A big chapter in his life. A big lesson to be learned of what? Bitachon. That you have trust. that you have emunah, that everything is for the best. Because you have to understand, Yaakov is a very holy person. And for 20 years, he is a very toxic environment. What was he doing over there? It's to show him that all the things that he went through, he didn't waver in his belief in Hashem. He didn't turn in any way in the connection that he had to God, and that he had with Abraham, Yitzchak, and that continuing to Yaakov. It was a big lesson in bitachon. Now, not only bitachon, it's that it's a lesson of safety, of believing, and the faith in Hashem, and regardless who's in your life at the moment that's challenging you, because everyone's going to have challenges in life. You're always going to have some crook that's going to come and change the deal on you, or is going to try to cheat you, or is going to try to swindle you. Over here we see that, how do you deal with it? Yaakov said, the call from Hashem, you see, even when he tried to switch all the sheep and the cattle, what happened in the end? He had more than Lavan in the end. What's yours is yours. What's coming to you is coming to you. You had bitachon, that's all for the best. However, one thing that you have to say positively about Lavan, because Lavan was such a crook, because Lavan was such the opposite of Yaakov and was challenging him so many different ways every single day, it actually helped Yaakov become a tzaddik. Why? Because the more he got challenged, the more he passed the test, the higher level he went to. The more he got challenged, the more he passed the test, the higher level he went to. So for 20 years, it was just a workout, a spiritual workout of bitachon, of emunah, to bring him to a higher level, to a higher level. And after 20 years, Hashem tells him, you're done, job done, check the box, move on now to the next level. And next week's parasha, we see the next level is with us. So Be'ezat Hashem, that shenizkeh, not to be around crooked people, not to be around Lavan Ha Arami or Lavan Ha Arami, that we should hold to the midot of Yaakov Avinu, and Be'ezat Hashem, she'enu Shabbat Shalom ve'atzlacha to all the challenges that are happening